Hello everyone and welcome to Unit 11.6. In this lesson we're going to look at how do we use unitary method to solve proportion problems, okay? If you remember from the last lesson, the unitary method is where we put the ratio into a simplified form where one part of the ratio is 1, okay? And we're going to look at how we use that to help us solve problems. Okay, the first thing that you need to do, please, is answer the four questions rather that are on the screen. So please pause the video and play when you are ready to go through the solutions. Okay, so just setting up the visualizer so I can go through the solutions on the paper with you. I've also now just put the answers onto the slideshow there. So you can check through your answers and then you can also listen, please, to the solutions as we go through them. So, question 1, the first part of the question, this is all without calculator. Remember, I'll tell you if there is calculator. So for question 1, part A, you need to do 840 divided by 7. Okay, so 840 divided by 7. Hopefully, you already knew that 84 divided by 7 is 12. Okay, so that's you should know that from your 7 times tables. 84 divided by 7 is 12. Therefore, 840 divided by 7 is going to be 70. Okay, because 840 is 10 times bigger than 84. Okay, you may have used a bust up otherwise, but you did need to know your tables there to be able to get that nice and easily. Okay, part B, you're doing 450 multiplied by 9. I don't know why I've left a big gap there, sorry about that. But 450 multiplied by 9. 9 times 0 is 0. 9 times 5 is 45. So you put your 5 there and you carry your 4. 9 times 4 is 36. Plus the 4 is 40. Okay, so your answer is 4050. Okay. Part C. 2.7 multiplied by 5. Remember, line up your decimal. 5 times 7 is 35, so the 5 goes here, the 3 carries to the left of the decimal. 5 times 2 is 10, add 3 is 13. Your answer is 13.5. Part D, you've got 4.8 divided by 3, okay? You may have known that 48 divided by 3 is 16, therefore 4.8 divided by 3 is 1.6. If you didn't know that, you should have used your bus stop. You've got 4.8, you're dividing it by 3. 3 goes into 4 once, with 1 remaining, decimals line up. 3 goes into 18 6 times, and therefore your answer is 1.6. Okay, part E. 10 multiplied by something is 20. Okay, that's a nice and easy one. 10 multiplied by 2 is 20. For F, you have 10 divided by something is 5. Again, nice and easy. 10 divided by 2 is 5 because 5 is half of 10. Okay. G, these ones have got nice and easy again. 5 divided by something is 1. Well, anything divided by itself is 1. So 5 divided by 5 is 1. And that will help you with H. 7.2 divided by something is 1. Like I said, anything divided by itself gets you to 1. So it's divided by 7.2. Okay, so that's your answers for question 1. Question 2. It says write each of these as a unit ratio. Okay, remember that means one part of the ratio will be 1. Remember what I said, if they don't specify in which order, so if they don't say m to 1 or 1 to m or any letter that they decide to use, then pick the smallest number in the ratio to make to 1, okay? So that'll make sense more as I do it. So to A, you've got 4 to 18. We're making it a unit ratio. That means that one of the numbers is going to be 1. I've picked the smallest number, so I know 4 divided by 4 is 1. In order to keep my ratio equivalent, I have to divide my 18 by 4 as well, and I'm going to work out 18 divided by 4 at the side here, so 18 and 4. So I know that 4 goes into 18 4 times, with 2 remaining. That 2 becomes 20 because we've carried it. 4 goes into 25 times, okay, so that's 4.5. So for part A, 4 to 18 as a unit ratio is 1 to 4.5. Okay, they've given you the alternative answer, so 0.22 to 1, that's if you decided to divide by 18. So it is still correct to do that, if that's what you did. Just in general, I just find it easier to divide by the smallest number if they don't specify which, okay? So part B, you've got 11 to 5. So I'm going to pick making 5 to 1 because 5 is the smallest number. So divide by 5 gives me 1. I have to do the same thing to the 11. So divide by 5. So let's work out 11 divided by 5. 5 goes into 11 twice with 1 remaining. That one becomes a 10. 5 goes into 10 twice. So my answer there is 2.2. Again, they've given you the other answer if you decided to make the 11 the 1 in the ratio. Okay. C, we've got 14 to 35. I'm going to make the 14 the 1, so I need to divide both sides by 14. 14 divided by 14 is 1. Then I need to work out 35 divided by 14. Over here, 35, put it in my bus stop. 14 on the outside. Okay, 2 14s will go into 35. So we need to put 2 there and put our decimals, and we will have 28, so 7 remaining. Okay, that becomes a 70. Then we need to do 70 divided by 14, and that is 5. So your answer there is 2.5. Okay, again, they've got the alternative answer there if you didn't get that. D, you've got 18 to 8. I'm going to make the smaller number the 1, so I'm dividing by 8. If I divide by 8 by 8, I get 1. 18 divided by 8. I know 2 8s go into 18 with 2 remaining. That becomes 20. I know 2 8s go into 20 with 4 remaining, so that becomes 40. And I know 5 8s go into 40, so it's 2.25 to 1. Okay, so that's question 2. Question 3. What is the highest common factor of each of the pairs of numbers? Okay, remember, we did that in the earlier part of Unit 11. Okay, so I'm not going to go through both of them. I'm just going to go through part A. Remember, we're going to find the factors pairs of 500 and then the factor pairs of 350 and find which one is the highest in both. So we know we've got 1 and 500. We've got 2 and 250. 3 is not a factor. 4 is a factor. 4 and 125 are factors. 5 is a factor. 5 and 100. 6 is not a factor. 7 is not a factor. 8 isn't a factor. 9 isn't a factor. 10 is a factor. 10 and 50. 11 isn't. 12 isn't. 13 isn't. 14 isn't. 15 isn't. 16 isn't. 17 isn't. 18 isn't. 19 isn't. 20 is. And then 21, 22, 23 and 24 aren't. And then we'll come back to 25. Okay, so that's all your factor pairs for 500. For 350, we've got 1 and 350. 2 and 175. 3 isn't a factor. 4 isn't a factor. 5 is a factor. It'll be 5 and 70. Oh, 5 and 70, not 5 and 75. 6 then isn't a factor. 7 is a factor. It'll be 7 and 50. 8 isn't, 9 isn't, 10 is. 10 and 35. And then there's nothing else in between 10 and 35 that would be a factor. Okay, so they're all your factors there. So then you look, what is the highest number that's in both? Well, it's 50. 50 is the highest one that's in both of my factor pairs, my list of factors, okay? So HCF is 50. So that's also what you had to do for part B. Okay, question 4. These are really easy. I'm not going to bother writing them, I'll just quickly talk you through it. Which is better value if you're shopping? Do you want to pay 1.8p per gram or 2.1p per gram? Well, you'd rather pay 1.8p per gram because it's cheaper. Okay, and then part B, which says, which is better value if you're shopping, getting 3.25 millilitres for 1p or 2.85 millilitres for 1p? Well, you'd rather get 3.25 millilitres for 1p because you're getting more for your money. Okay, so that's all you needed for those questions. So let's have a look at this example now. The question says, a recipe for 6 people uses 900 grams of mince. How many grams is needed for, then it says 12 people, 3 people or 9 people. So let's start with the 12 people. So as you can see from the example, they've done P for the number of people and M for the amount of mince that they get, that they need to make enough food for those 6 people, okay? So P in what we know is 6. Okay, so for 6 people we need 900 grams of mince. So P is 6, 900 is our mince, okay? So that's what we need for 6 people. The question's asked us for 12 people. So our people becomes 12. Now the first question I'm going to ask myself is, well, how do I get from 6 to 12? Well, all I need to do is multiply by 2, because 12 is double 6. Therefore, I do the same with my amount of mince. Because I'm making it for 12 people, I'm going to double the amount I use. And I'm going to multiply that side by 2 as well, leaving me with 1,800 grams. Okay? Part B says for 3 people. So again, we're going to use what the question's told us. We've got people to mince. We've got 6 people need 900 grams of mince. And this time they're asking us for 3 people. So that part's the same. So that goes under the 6. Okay, the people we know is 3 people. How do we get from 6 to 3? Well, at this time we divide by 2. Okay, 3 is half of 6, so we divide by 2. And therefore, to get the amount of mince that I need, I'm going to divide by 2 again. Okay, so that's 450 grams that they'll therefore need for 3 people. Okay, for part C, it has given us, it's asked us for 9 people. Okay, so we know the amount for 6 people now. We know the amount for 3 people. So all they've done is done 6 people plus 3 people. Okay, and that's going to give us the 9 people that they want. Okay, so that's going to be the 900 grams plus 450 grams, and therefore we need 1,350 grams for 9 people. Okay, so then it's got the discussion point that we're not really going to look into too much, is how would you work out the amounts for 18 people or 15 people. Okay, you would try and find ways to use the information that you've got. So for 15 people, you can do the 12 people plus the 3 people. And for the 18 people, you could double the 9 people, okay? Because 18 is double 9. Okay? So that's how we're starting with these examples. You've got your first one to try coming up on the screen. Okay, so that's your question to try now, okay? I'll leave the example workings on the split screen for you. So please pause the video and play when you're ready to go through the solution. Okay. So I'll put the answers up on the screen and then we'll go through them as well. So for question 5, the question says, a recipe for 4 people uses 6 eggs. How many eggs are needed for, and then the first part says 8 people, okay? So as before, we've got people to eggs this time. So P to E, people to eggs. We know 4 people need 6 eggs, okay? 4 people, 6 eggs. Part A has asked us how many eggs are needed for 8 people. Okay, so 8 is the bit that we can fill in because it's in the people column now. Well, how do I get from 4 to 8? I multiply by 2. Therefore, I'm going to multiply my eggs by 2, and I need 12 eggs for part A. Okay, 12 eggs are needed. Okay, part B. Again, we've got the same ratio, people to eggs, 4 to 6. That's from the question. And then it's asked us how many eggs are needed for 2 people. Okay, so our people part can be filled in. Then we say, how do we get from 4 to 2? Well, I divide by 2. I half 4, so I divide by 2. So I'm going to do the same with my number of eggs. 6 divided by 2 is 3, and therefore 3 eggs are needed for 2 people. Part C. How many are needed for 6 people? So I already know how many I need from 4 people from the question. So 4 people. And I also already have worked out how many are needed for 2 people, okay? And I know that 4 plus 2 is 6. So if I add the amount needed for 4 people and the amount needed for 2 people, that's going to give me 6 people. Okay? Therefore, the amount needed for 4 people of eggs was 6. The amount needed for 2 people was 3. Therefore, 6 people need 9 eggs. Finally, part D. How many eggs are needed for 10 people? Well, what information do we know? Which can we use together? Well, we could use 8 and 2 people, or we could use 6 and 4. They both make 10, don't they? I'm going to use the 8 people plus the 2 people. That gives me 10 people, and therefore the answer to the question, the eggs for 8 people was 12 eggs. The eggs for 2 people was 3 eggs. And therefore I need 15 eggs for 10 people. Okay? Well done if you got those. So another example then. So the examples that we've looked at so far were quite straightforward because the numbers related, I could find either you could multiply by 2, divide by 2, or something simple that would get us from one number of people in those examples to a different number. But sometimes they're not always that straightforward, and it's not easy to find a multiplier to get from one to another. So then this is where the unitary method comes into play, okay? So the key point 7 says, in the unitary method, you find the value of one item before finding the value of more. Okay, so we find the value of 1 before finding the value that they've asked for in the question. My example says, Richard wants to make shortbread for 3 people. He has this recipe, okay? So he has a shortbread recipe that serves 4 people. He needs 80 grams of butter, 60 grams of caster sugar, 100 grams of plain flour, and 40 grams of corn flour, okay? That's what he needs for 4 people. It says how many of each ingredient will Richard need for 3 people, okay? So let's start with the butter, okay? So let's just go with the butter first. And let's follow the same as we've done in those examples before. So the number of people to the ingredients. So the number of people to butter, we've got 4 people to 80 grams of butter. Okay, we can't easily get from 4 to 3. You don't divide by 2, you don't times by anything, you can't just subtract 1 because that wouldn't work here. So we're now going to take this into unitary form in order to then multiply up to 3 people. So what I'm going to do is divide by 4 to work out how much butter is needed for 1 person, and then I'll multiply that by 3 to work out how much is needed for 3. So if I divide both sides by 4, I've got 1 to 20 grams. So 1 person needs 20 grams of butter. Therefore, 3 people, to get from 1 to 3, I multiply by 3. So I multiply my 20 by 3, and 3 people need 60 grams of butter. Okay? So that's our butter. Let's look at our caster sugar. So caster sugar, we've got people to caster sugar. We've got 4 people to 60 grams of caster sugar. So I want to work out first how much is needed for 1 person, and I'm going to do that by dividing both sides by 4. Okay, because that gets my people to 1. So 1 to 15 grams. 60 divided by 4 is 15. That's how much I need for 1 person. The question has asked me, what do I need for 3 people? So I need to multiply both sides by 3 to find out how much is needed for 3 people, and that would be 45 grams. So that's my caster sugar done. Next, let's look at the plain flour. But hopefully you're seeing what we're doing here. We work out how much is needed for 1 person, and then we multiply that by the number of people that they've asked us for. So plain flour, excuse my terrible straight lines. So we've got the number of people to the amount of plain flour, and for 4 people it's 4 to 100 grams. Okay, it's 4 to 100 grams. So in order to find out what it is for 1 person, I need to divide both sides by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 100 grams divided by 4 is 25 grams. Therefore, I need 25 grams of plain flour per person I'm making the shortbread for. I want to know what I need for 3 people. Therefore, I need to multiply both sides by 3. 25 grams multiplied by 3 is 75 grams. Therefore, I'm going to need 75 grams of plain flour. Okay, the last one is my corn flour. The corn flour, so we've got people to corn flour. There's 4 people need 40 grams of corn flour. First, find out what it is for 1 person by dividing by 4. So because I'm making my people 1, so I divide by 4. That's 1 person needs 10 grams of corn flour. Then I need to get from my 1 person to 3 people, because that's what the question's asked me. So I need to multiply both sides by 3, and 3 people will use 30 grams of corn flour. And that's it, you found your answer. So you work out what is needed for 1 person, and then multiply that up by the number of people that they're asking you the answer for, okay? Have a go, please, then. Again, I'll leave this on the screen for you. Pause the video. You have got a hint there, which helps you. It's the same as what I've been doing. It's just telling you to find the unitary method, unitary ratio rather. So please pause the video, have a go at the question and play when you're ready to go through the solution. Okay, so let's go through the solution together now then. I'll put the answer on the screen as well and then go through the solution. So the question 6 says 5 tickets to a theme park cost £125. How much will 18 tickets cost? Okay, so we've got people to cost, or they've put tickets to cost. The number of people to cost is fine. So we've got 5 tickets, 5 people cost £125. And they want to know how much it's going to cost for 18 people. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to divide both sides by 5 to find out what the cost is per ticket, okay? To find out what the cost is per person, per ticket. Okay, so we need to start by doing that. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 125 divided by 5 is 5. Okay, so that means, 25. So that means it costs £25 per ticket. So for one person, it costs £25. One ticket, £25. How much is it going to cost 18 people? Well, we're going to now have to multiply by 18, because to get from 1 to 18, I have to multiply by 18. So I'm going to have to multiply my £25 by 18 to work out how much it will cost each for 18 people. So at the side, I'm going to do 25 multiplied by 18. 8 times 5 is 40. So 0, carry 4. 8 times 2 is 16. Add 4 is 20. We've dealt with the 8, now we're dealing with the 10. And we know 1 times 5 is 5, 1 times 2 is 2. Now we just add those two together. And we have £450, okay? So our answer was £450. Well done if you got that. Okay, pause again. You've got another few questions to try there. You can use a calculator, I'll say, for those, because they're a little bit trickier calculations. Okay, so if you've got a calculator, just to speed it up, as long as you know the process of what you're doing, the calculator is fine to use for these two, please. Okay, so let's go through the solutions. Question 7. I'll put them up on the screen and I'll also go through them. Okay, so question 7 says 20 litres of fuel cost £25.38. What do 35 litres cost? Okay, so we've got the litres to cost. We can put, we have 20 litres and it costs £25.38. To find out what 1 litre costs, we're going to divide by 20 on both sides. Okay, that's going to tell us what 1 litre costs. So 20 divided by 20 is 1. 25.38 divided by 20 is 1.269. And remember, you could have used a calculator for that. The question's asking what does 35 litres cost. So I'm going to put 35 in my litres column. How do I get from 1 to 35? I multiply by 35. So I need to do the same on my cost side to work out how much it will cost for 35 litres. Okay? So I'm going to do my 1.269 multiplied by 35. And my answer on my calculator comes up at 44.415. Okay? That will round to 44.142. Okay? And that's your answer. I didn't round at this point, which means I got 44.42 here. If you did round at that point, you may have got 44.41. That's still okay, okay? They've given you both answers. So because I didn't round, I rounded my final answer rather than during my calculation. Okay, and it's 2 decimal places because it's money. We don't have 3 decimal places in money. Okay, so that's question 7. Question 8. says Maria gets £31.55 for working 5 hours. How much will she get for working A, 9 hours, B, 26 hours, and C, 30 hours? Okay, so we can do pay to hours. She gets £31.55, and that's for 5 hours of work. Okay, it wants to know what she gets for 9 hours. So what I'm going to do first, divide both sides by 5 to work out what she's going to get for 1 hour of work. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 31.55 divided by 5 is 6.31, £6.31 she gets per hour that she works. So to work out what she gets for 9 hours, we're going to multiply that by 9, because that gets our 1 to 9. And 631 multiplied by 9 is 56.79. So £56.79 is what she gets for part A. So I'll just put that to the side. A, she gets £56.79. Part B, that's A there. Part B, we want to know what is she going to get for 26 hours. So again, I'm just going to go around the outside here. To get from 1 hour to 26 hours, I multiply by 26. Okay, therefore I have to do the same for my paper hour. So I need to do £6.31 multiplied by 26. And that gets me £164.06. Okay, that's what she gets for 26 hours. And then finally for 30 hours, part C, I'm not going to do all these arrows because it's confusing. We now know £6.31 is what she gets an hour. So it's 6.31 multiplied by 30. And that gives you £189.30. And that's your final answer there. Okay, so hopefully you got those. Sometimes for that kind of question, people can find it much easier to answer because they're used to thinking about money. So it's easy to know that, well, if I get £31.55 for 5 hours, for 1 hour I need to divide that by 5, and then I know what I get for 1 hour, and then I can multiply that up. Okay, so well done if you got that. Question 9 now, please. Pause the video, have a go at question 9. Play when you're ready to go through the solution. Okay, so question 9. It says a gym coach orders tracksuits for each of the 25 gymnasts in the club. The total cost is £1,247.50. 2 more gymnasts join the club, so he orders an extra 2 tracksuits. What is the total value of the order now? Okay, be careful, it didn't ask just for the value of the 2 tracksuits, it wants to know the total order value. So you had to add that on to the original cost. Okay, so we're going to do gymnasts to cost. He had 25 gymnasts and it cost £1,247.50. So to work out the cost of one of the tracksuits, we're going to divide by 25. Do that to both sides, so it's an equivalent ratio, and we haven't changed it, just simplified. That gives us 1, and then to £1,247.50 divided by 25 gives us £49.90. Okay, so it's £49.90 per tracksuit. We need to know what it is for an extra 2, so I'm going to multiply by 2. Do that to both sides. So for 2 more, it's going to cost £99.80. So if I add that to the original, so I've got £1,247.50 plus £99.80, and that gives me £1,347.30. Okay, and that's your final answer there. Okay, so another key point then, key point 8. You can use unitary method to work out which product gives you better value for money, okay? Often, like when you go to the shop, you can see 2 bottles of ketchup for sale, for example. One is on offer, one isn't, but one is slightly bigger than the other. So it's hard to know which one is better for value for money, okay? So this using unitary method is a way that you can work out which one is better value for money. So let's look at the example here then. So a 345 milliliter tin of paint costs £4.80. A 250 milliliter tin of paint costs £3.35. Which tin is better value for money? Okay, so I'm going to start tin 1. Okay, so tin number 1. I'm going to do milliliters to cost. So we've got 345 milliliters to the cost, that is £4.80. Okay, so 345 milliliters cost £4.80. Okay, I'm going to divide both sides by 345 to find out what 1 milliliter would cost. Okay, I'm going to divide by 345 on both sides. Therefore, 1 milliliter is going to cost, and it is a calculator question, so you don't have to work that out, 0.0, and I will round 14, okay, because it is 0.01371429, so I've rounded that to 0.014. Okay, so that's what 1 milliliter would cost if I were to go for tin 1. Tin 2, and do milliliters to cost. So it's 250 milliliters, and it costs £3.35. I'm going to divide both sides by 250 because the same thing needs to be comparable. You could have done it the other way around and made this a unit side, it doesn't matter, but as long as you do it to the same one when you're comparing. And divide it to 250, that gives me 0.013, rounded to the same number of decimal places. Okay, so then my conclusion is therefore, and it said which is better value for money. So it's better value for money if you're paying less per milliliter. So therefore tin 2 is better value for money. Okay, and as I said, you could have divided by the 480 to find what it was per penny. Okay, but it doesn't matter which way, as long as then you compare the same thing and you conclude. Okay, well done. Have a go now, please. I'll leave this on the board. There are hints with this question, so please be careful when you're doing it. They've given you the blanks, so that should make it easier for you to compare. So pause and then play when you're ready to go through the solution. Okay, so question 10. We'll put the answers up as we go through as well. So it says, washing powder comes in 2 sizes. Copy and complete to find the unit ratios, okay? So for 10A, part I, we've got 1.3 kilograms of washing powder, costs £4.40, okay? So we're going to do kilograms to cost again. They've divided by something which gave them £1 on the cost side, and then we need to work out what the blank is here, okay? So we know to get from £4.40 to £1, we're going to divide by £4.40. Therefore, we need to do the same with the 1.3. So 1.3 divided by 4.4 gives us 0.29, and they haven't rounded it, so 545 ... Okay, and your calculator, it carries on. They haven't rounded it. if you did round it, you would get, if you did to 2 decimal places, you'd get 0.30 or 0.295 to 3 decimal places, okay? We've got 2.6 kilograms to 6 pounds. They've divided by something, which gives them 1 pound on this side. We know that would be divided by 6. Therefore, they've got to do the same with the 2.6. So divide by 6 to work out how many kilograms they'll get for a pound. And that will be 0.43 recurring. Okay, so 0.43 recurring, and that's kilograms, okay, per pound. Part B says which size is better to buy. So you've got to have a look, which size is better to buy. Well, 2.6 kilograms is better to buy because you get more kilograms per pound, okay? So 2.6 kilograms is better value as you get more kilograms per pound. Okay, so more kilograms per pound. Well done if you got that. Okay, you might have done it the other way round and divided by 1.3. That's fine as long as you compared at the end. You should get the same conclusion. Okay, so you've got 3 more questions there to try. So please pause the video and play when you're ready to go through the solution. You can use your calculator for those. So please pause and return when you're ready to go through the solution. Okay, question 11. It says Jenna can buy her favourite blend of coffee in 2 sizes. So she can either get 500 kilograms for £14.90 or 300 kilograms for £8.85. Which is better value for money? Okay, and we're going to work that out by finding out what 1 unit of that thing costs. Okay, so we're going to put it into unitary form. So we'll start with size 1. So size 1. She's got 500 grams for £14.90. Okay, you could either divide by £14.90 or you could divide by 500 grams and find out what it is per gram. Okay, I'm going to divide by 500, but either is fine. I'm going to divide by 500, that gives me 1 gram cost, £14.90 divided by 500, which is 0.0298. Okay, that's the cost of 1 gram. So now I need to do the same for size 2. Make sure I'm changing the same thing to 1. Okay, so I need to make sure I'm changing the grams now to 1 because that's what I did for the size 1. So I get 300 grams for £8.85. So I'm going to divide by 300 now to get what the cost of 1 gram would be. That gives me 1 gram here. £8.85 divided by 300 is 0.0295. And then the question has asked me which is better value for money. Well, the 300 gram one is better value for money because it costs me less per gram. Okay? So I'm going to put 300 grams is better value as it costs less per gram. Okay? If you divided by the cost instead, so here you divided by £14.90, you would have got the amount of grams they would have got per pound. Okay? So then you would have compared the grams. So whichever grams had more, that would be the better value because you'd get more grams per pound. So it depends which way around you did it, how you conclude, but it should still both come out with the 300 grams being better value. Okay? Question 12. David can buy blackcurrant squash in 2 sizes. He can get 2 litres for £4.99 or 600 millilitres for £1.98. Which is better for value? Okay, and you've got a hint that said you need to convert them both to the same unit. Okay, so be careful, you've got litres and millilitres there. So you need to convert first to the same unit. Okay, so I've got 2 litres for £4.99. I'm going to convert those litres to millilitres so that they're comparable. So it's 2,000 millilitres for £4.99. Okay, that's one. The other one I have is 600 millilitres for £1.98. Okay, this time I'm going to work out the cost per pound, and I'm going to do that by dividing by £4.99. So divide both sides by £4.99, and I'll work out how much I get per pound that I spend. Okay, so 2,000 divided by £4.99 is 400.8 millilitres, and that's per pound. That means I'm going to divide both sides by 1.98 on the other option, so that I find out how many millilitres they get per pound. That gives me £1 there, and then 600 divided by 198 is 303.03 millilitres. Okay, so it says which is better value for money. Well, the 2 litres is better value for money because I get more millilitres per pound that I spend. So 2 litres is better value for money as I get more millilitres per pound. Okay, and that's your conclusion. Question 13. Mary gets paid £31.50 for 5 hours of work. Alice gets paid £50 for 8 hours of work. They both work 36 hours a week. Who earns more money? Okay. So start with Mary. So we've got her, we can do her hours to her pay. So she works 5 hours and gets £31.50. And we've then got Alice, keeping the same ratio, hours to pay. Alice works 8 hours for £50. Okay, I'm going to work out what they get paid per hour by dividing by 8 for Alice and by dividing by 5 for Mary to find the hourly rate. Okay, so for Mary, 1 hour, she will get £6.30. And for Alice, for 1 hour, she will get £6.25. Okay, so who's going to earn more money when they both work a 36-hour week? Well, Mary will. You don't need to times it by 36 because Mary gets £6.30 an hour and Alice only gets £6.25. So therefore, Mary earns more money. Okay, and you're finished. So well done if you got those. Last question. This is an exam style question. Read the exam hint, read the question carefully, and then we'll go through the solution when you have finished. Okay, so pause the video now and play when you're ready for the solution. Okay, the answers on the screen. I'm just going to go back to that one though because they'll quickly let you have a look at that. And then we're going to go back here so I can quickly read you the exam hint. So the exam hint says highlight or underline key information in the question. What information not given in the boxes should you highlight here? Okay, so that's just a bit of a tip for when you're doing the question. But question 14, let's read it together. So Brenda works in an office. She finds out the prices of folders from two companies, Office Deals and Paperworld. Brenda needs to buy exactly 60 folders. She wants to buy the folders as cheaply as possible. Which company should Brenda buy the folders from? You must explain your answer. Okay? So she wants to buy 60. So important information. She needs 60 folders. And she wants to pay as little as possible, right? But she wants to buy exactly 60 folders, no more. So we need to work out what the cost is for 60 folders at each of the two shops. Okay? So 1. Let's start with Office Deals. Okay, so we've got Office Deals. So I'm going to do folders to cost. That's going to be my ratio. The number of folders is 20 and the cost is £10.80. Brenda wants to buy 60, so I think, well, is there a way, before getting the unitary method involved, is there a way I can get from 20 to 60? Well, yes, there is. I can multiply by 3. Okay, if I multiply both sides by 3, I will have 60 folders, and I will then work out the cost, and that will tell us how much it's going to be if she buys it from Office Deals. The £10.80 multiplied by 3 is £32.40. Okay, so that's the cost of 60 folders if she bought them from Office Deals. If she gets it from Paperworld, I'm going to try and do it alongside here. So Paperworld, keep the ratio the same, so folders to cost. You get 15 folders for £8.40. So before going to unitary method, I say, is there a way for me to get from 15 to 60? Well, yes, there is. I multiplied by 4. So I multiply 15 by 4 to get to 60. Okay, so 60 folders is going to cost, I need to multiply £8.40 by 4, and that will cost £33.60. Okay? So then conclude, therefore, she should buy the folders from Office Deals because it is cheaper. And you can say, if you want to, by how much, but you don't need to, but I'm going to for this one, by £1.20. Okay, but you don't need to do that. You just need to conclude that she should buy them from Office Deals and have all the workings there. Okay, so that's the end of the session. Well done. It was a bit of a long one, but I didn't want to split that in two today. So hopefully you understood what you were doing there. And it makes a lot more sense when you use ratio and proportion in these kind of scenarios that you're used to seeing. Well done.